Hello, I'm Michael, and this is Tarot by the Tree. This is part of a series of discussions we're having on the minor arcana. That's the 22 cards. We've worked our way down through the Tree of Life, the first 10 cards. The 11th card hangs up in the air like the balance that it is, because that's the card Justice. Another tree, the tree of knowledge, the knowledge of good and evil, is hung beside, and that gives us access to 10 more cards. And those are the cards 12 to 21. The first tree was what was taught to everybody back in the day when perhaps Kabbalah was the way that people thought about the unknown, and religions hadn't yet become corporate entities. On the Tree of Life, the very middle of it, is a Sephirah called Tiferet. Tiferet exists, one of the very few to exist on the middle column of mildness. There is no right and left-hand version of Tiferet. Tiferet is right in the middle. Left and right, top and bottom, middle of the Kabbalah, middle of the Kabbalistic Tree of Life and Tree of Knowledge. Position number 6 is card number 6. And the place on the Kabbalah is the place of beauty and perhaps its subset, love. We had a long talk on beauty that I think one of the problems of our society now is that sometimes men have tried to subjugate women, and perhaps that wasn't always the case. And that beauty has been put off to the side as an attempt to regulate some of the female power. On the Tree of Life, Tiferet is beauty and love, and the card that represents that place is the Lovers. And this was on the Tree of Life, and we've discussed this already. We've now moved to the Tree of Knowledge, the same numbers, the same Sephirah there, but the cards now have changed. So the Lovers have become the Star. We talked about the Tree of Knowledge. We talked a little bit about good and evil, and today it's good. On this tree, it is called the Tree of the Knowledge of Good and Evil. And sometimes we see what could be evil. Of course, it's really not. It's just sort of a phase change. But we can see the greatness of the magician becoming the hangman, and not really very resourceful at this point, more of a temporary prisoner. And we do see things like that as we move down. We see the card that is the abundance of all life. The other side is the death card, and it makes us think that death and life must be related. And as we move down, very often we do see things that can be considered difficult, but today it's good. We're looking at the expression of love. And in our youth, love is represented, encapsulated by another person. And very often we want to fall in love. We want to have a life partner, a soulmate, a twin flame, whatever you want to call it. And that's very common. That's necessary. That's a good thing. That's not something we should move on from. It's just that in the second tree, when we look at the star, we aren't just looking at couples, at synergy, on that kind of symbiotic relationship anymore. We're looking just at the quality of love, and it might be a bit like math and music in that it might exist even without humans. It might be just there. And we're just going to look at love, and we're going to look at what love is and what's, for want of better words, the highest expression of love. The Tree of Life is not taught to the very young because of the subtleties in expressing what the cards mean. And in the first tree, the card was the Lovers, and we all have knowledge and ideas of what love is. In the second tree, it is the star. This is not taught right away to people. The moral of these two cards is that the highest expression of love is giving without thought of reward. And that is not taught to people right away because they don't want people to become doormats, to be used, to be taken advantage of, to be cheated, and to even be broken. A person who thinks at the very beginning that love means the person you're infatuated with, you should give everything about you to, that you should um, empty yourself and just pour yourself into that person like they're a vessel. That's not exactly a reciprocal form of love. In this card, we'll see that, like in the lovers, the star, she is naked. This is a sign of vulnerability. And just in the lovers card, the two people are vulnerable to each other. We compared it too to the devil card, where it's a form of willing slavery. In the star, there is no such thing. There is no other. The star is the individual of single purpose. The star has nothing to hide. There is no alter ego to her, and there is no vested interest in what she's doing. There is something that's always bothered me a little about this card. Pamela Coleman Smith was the author, and she was steeped in Kabbalistic wisdom along with the Order of the Golden Dawn. And this card uh, is a great example of her work, except for the tree on the right side that has a bird in it. Apparently, the bird's an ibis, which is a sign of wisdom. I really like the idea that the tree's there and the bird's there. It's just interesting. The bird doesn't, to me, seem like the same artist did it as did the rest of the card. It's just interesting. It looks to me like somebody other than um, Coleman Smith did that bird, but it's very important to have that bird there. You'll notice that on the left side of the card, severity, there's just nothing there. This is a card about the right side, about mercy and giving. The ibis bird is a little nod to why we don't teach this to the youth. The ibis bird is wisdom, and it just points out that the star is giving nourishing water to the waters and to the earth, to all parts of the planet. She's not giving at random, and this is not charity. She is not a missionary. And I'll give just a sort of a desert analogy. Imagine the star was in a desert and she had a bucket of water every day, and that was all. And she has two choices. One would be to go sprinkling this water everywhere on the desert. I mean, it's got to help a little bit. And her intention is good. Instead, what she would do is she would dig a little depression and get any of the humus she could around, and she would just water a little tiny area and encourage a plant or two to grow. In time, that plant or two would change the ecosystem of the soil, and that bucket of water a day would actually begin to change a bit of a microclimate there, which would in terms have an effect on the macroclimate. This is not random. This is not at all a gesture. She is serving a purpose. It's a single purpose. And the ibis is that she has the wisdom to know where her help will be received. We'll try something that my son Shane was mentioning, taking a look at this card with respect to the four suits. We haven't done this before. I just never actually thought of this twinning, this co-joining, but we'll give it a try. Um, the star is the center of the tree of life and the tree of knowledge. It's represented by the lover's card, and beauty and love are what this place and these cards symbolize. And beauty and love are related. One aspect of love in these cards to me is compassion. And to me, that's sort of something we should carry in our pocket all the time, is a lens of compassion. Anytime we want to make a decision, if it's in swords, that would be maybe it's time for us to use some of our power just to restore or maintain. If it's cups, it's our happiness, our joy, which is a real important part of our mental well-being. In staves, it's our plans. And in coins, it's our possessions. The idea of the star and beauty may be related to what I call compassion, which is a lens that we view all things through before we take action. And I think the star being in the center of both trees, in both ways, left to right, top for bottom, it really expresses the idea, and this is not prevalent in today's society, but if we do something, we should maybe start with beauty. This is not like starting the cake with the icing at all. This is starting the cake with perfect ingredients. We have to realign our ideas of what beauty is and how it is part of love and compassion. We'll take a look. In swords, the idea of beauty, the star, and love might be a little bit of a tether to you, not to use power in a way that is going to be seen as probably revenge. That's the hidden motivation in most people when they say they didn't know who they were messing with, or they have to learn a lesson, or anything like that. I think we're just talking about revenge. In the terms of staves in your plans, I think to keep love central is really important, that you don't build a meaningless empire leaving your wife and children behind in the process. So I think in terms of plans, this card may be very important. In terms of your wealth, your coins, it would make you more inclined to use your wealth as a way of improving people's lives. I think that would be a good thing. Have we covered them all? I think so.
Cups.
Cups. Okay. In terms of uh, that's good, because I think this is important. Just some of the things that we've been noticing lately is joy and happiness. If it's rooted in the wrong kind of soil, it's likely to be destructive. And let's just say that a person is an addict, and we'll see that their love is going to be the drug that they use, and it's going to be detrimental to their whole life. We can also see somebody who's really into gambling, or somebody who's addicted to power, or any of those things. I think the message here is for the cups is that we keep our happiness rooted in things that are going to still be important in our old age. And I think that comes down to contentment and relationships and the well-being of others. All right, let's turn to some of the questions.
So let's get specific now to the star's impact on the meaning of the Six of Cups.
Okay. Remember, we're talking about love, we're talking about beauty, and in the Six of Cups, we see two children, very happy, a beautiful day, a courtyard, buildings around, there's flowers blooming, they're reminiscing. This is a captured moment from their youth that turns into one of the building blocks of some adult. in this card, they are experiencing that kind of love, but it's from the past. That's the only thing. This is a memory. And the thing that now brings them thoughts of love is something that seems attached to that memory.
How does the star impact the Six of Swords?
I just got a message from someone the other day that says they drew this card. Does it mean they're going to be moving to the city? And yeah, it makes sense to me. This is a card about transition. This is a card. The backstory to this card is the person probably was quite powerful and has used his power in a way that made living where he was difficult. As a result, he has packed up his family, his possessions. He is crossing the river to another place. He is in no danger. His swords are like a fence in front of him, as mentioned before. This is a powerful person, but as swords are always two-edged, this person has had to move because of his use of power in order to find the love and beauty that he wants.
How does the star impact the Six of Staffs?
In this card, it's kind of the opposite. Past events have made him famous. He's garlanded around his head. There are wreaths on the staves. Staves are his plans. He is returning from successful enterprise, and there is rejoicing. He's being hailed as a successful person. A great feeling, not only to be successful at one time, but then in the future to be remembered and celebrated again for your success.
How does the star impact the meaning of the Six of Coins?
This is a very interesting card. It's a well-dressed man holding a set of scales in one hand and coins in the other, and at his feet are two beggars, one of them receiving the coins. I was going to say it's a card about false love, but I don't even know really what that means. This is a card about somebody virtue signaling. He is going through the rite of dispensing some of his riches to people in need. And I suppose, like the star, he has a decision to make who gets what. The star bases her reasoning on people who will benefit from her gifts. The man in the Six of Coins has no such higher mind. He is giving coins to people according to his set of scales who deserve it. In all probability, he will give money to the person that gives him the most publicity in giving money. This is a sham. This is a show.
Is the star sad because she doesn't have a lover?
No, not at all. She would, I imagine, she would say having a lover is the best thing. It's all she wants. But at times she recognizes there's something greater than her wants. She sees a need that could be absolutely repaired with her intervention, with her help. And no, she's not sad she doesn't have a lover. She may have a lover. Maybe she left her lover in order to do this sacrificial good. Nobody knows. But no, she's not sad. Something above romance has come into her life, and what she's doing is of a higher purpose.
What does the star gain by her actions?
Yeah, as human beings, we don't do something for nothing. And it's a very difficult question. My first inclination is to say the whole point of this card is she gains nothing. But of course, we don't operate that way. We are animals, and there's something in it for her. And I'll try a couple of things. Can giving be a thing in itself? Can helping be a thing in itself? Can we actually step outside our bodies that we get enough joy from someone else's happiness to carry us over a period of pain? I'm not sure. I'd like to believe that, and I'd like to believe that that's what we see in the star.
Why is the star one of the few on the middle path of mildness?
There are only four Sephiroth on the middle path. She is on the path of mildness because beauty is a part of all things. Um, and she is not inclined to one side or another. She is not inclined towards, in any way, severity. Severity is what we might call clean, which is where she'd be trying to get rid of the dirt and the germs and to purify it. That's not part of her. She's a nourisher. She doesn't put up fences at all. And on the other side of the coin, mercy, where she would be trying to spread her gifts out to the most, to the greatest number of recipients. That's not her either. There's a, a very, very microscopic view that she has over who deserves her needs, or really who needs her needs.
Do you have to be alone to be like the star?
Hmm. I don't know. I think so. I think if a group of people decided to help somebody, that person will get help just as nicely as they might have with the star. I'm not sure the motivation remains constant. I'm not sure once we get into a group of people that we totally escape this uh, virtue signaling that seems to happen, the pecking order, the reputation. I'm just not sure. Um, I would hope that a group of people together could act with enough single mindedness to together represent the star.
Can love ever be bad?
Absolutely. And of course, everybody's going to say, well, how do you define love? Well, you can define it any way you like. Love is a force. We've already likened it to math and music. And of course, it can be bad. The kind of love that wants to keep a thing captive, that's not good. The kind of love that wants to take beauty and shroud it from the rest of the world so they're the only ones who can enjoy the beauty. That's not a good form of love. And we certainly see enough of that in the world. So, love can encompass the whole continuum from severity to mercy. Yeah, as Jocelyn is mentioning, jealousy is another form of love. I mean, their love may just seem perfect until there is a suspicion, a little bit of doubt, and then there's an eruption of anger and accusation. That is a very strange kind of love that has you walking in a minefield.
How does the star choose who to help?
The main thing is she's not going to waste the water on a bit of desert that's not going to grow anything. She has some way of knowing needs and knowing the result of a bit of help. She does not waste her kindness. I don't exactly know how she makes the decision, but perhaps we all do with the things that we do. We don't want to throw our money or efforts or our time away. And so we like to look for a certain worthiness. Hopefully, it's for the good.
Final thoughts on the star.
There is no, all the Sephiroth are equal. There is no higher card. But the star is the evolved version of the very center of the Kabbalistic tree of life and tree of knowledge. I think it's a very special card. I think in our society, we have forgotten a little bit about the perfection that love and beauty approach. And we've got a long way to go before beauty is fully recognized as the power that it is. Thanks for listening. Bye for now.